explain, but we would like you to endure us a little bit because we're pretty proud of you and our friends who put this event together. And let me invite Daniel Tao, who is right next to me, who's basically the man to the false. So let me call them one by one to the podium. First, let's welcome Congressman Dwight Evans. Thank you for this.
Go Dwight! Go Dwight!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
That's why we're here, to stop hate and to show that the Asian community is not by itself. We ought to send a message that we all our colleagues here from the state and federal, we'll show collectively that we're in this together. We're in this together. We recognize that this is not America. No matter where it is in this country or in the world, it's unacceptable. So let's go. Stop hate!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
I can't hear you at City Hall. Stop hate!
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 Let's see!
Stop hate!
Stop hate!
Stop hate! Thank you! Stop hate!
Thank you, Dwight, and thank you for the energy. Next up, let's invite the Executive Director of Pennsylvania Governor's Advisory Commission on Asian Pacific American Affairs, Ms. Stephanie Sun, to join us. Stephanie.
I'm sorry, I cannot breathe freely with next on. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. 大家好吗？好。Good morning, Congressman Gavin, for your great energy. And good morning, Councilmember David O, Councilmember Halligan, and Councilmember Mark Squilla, and Director John Chen. And Stephanie Song, the Executive Director of the Pennsylvania Governor's Advisory Commission on Asian Pacific American Affairs. Considering the large turnout of people from Chinese community, I would like to speak in both English and Chinese. 大家早上好，我叫孙一，是宾州州长亚太裔事务顾问委员会主任。Thank you all so much for being here, despite the horrible weather. The fact that you all are willing to stand here with us in the rain proves the seriousness of the cause that we're here to advocate. And thank you to the organizer for our rally today to put this event together. They're not professional organizers of this event, and they're all just regular people from various professionals, just like you and me, and they just thought we should stand up and let our voices heard. So my hats off to them. Thank you so much. 非常感谢现场的每一位，尽管天气恶劣，大家不辞辛劳来到这里，大家愿意冒雨，甚至等会儿可能会冒着雷电和我们站在这里，这一事实，仅仅这一事实就肯定了我们今天在此振臂高呼之诉求的严肃性和重要性。同时，非常感谢我们此次游行的集会者的组织者们，筹办这次重要的活动。他们并不是策划此类活动的专业人士，而是来自各行各业，如你我一般的普通人，认为我们应该站出来、站起来，发出自己的声音，从而走到一起来筹办这场非常重要的游行集会。我在此向他们致敬，非常非常感谢。As Governor Tom Wall, in his message on this Friday, which was his fourth message in the span of 10 days, the tragic loss of 6 Asian Americans in Georgia is just the latest example of the right type of violence that Asian Americans have experienced throughout the whole pandemic. Governor Tom Wall urges everyone to join him in standing in support with our Asian and Asian American community to stop anti-Asian hate. 宾州州长汤姆尔夫在乔治亚州枪击惨案过去10天之内，向公众4次发声，强烈谴责针对亚裔的暴力及歧视。 正如他在本周五所强调的，乔治亚州6名亚裔美国人不幸丧生的惨案，只是亚裔在整个疫情期间所遭受的不断高涨的种族暴力浪潮中的又一最新案例。汤姆·沃尔夫州长敦促所有人和他一道，支持我们的亚裔社区和亚裔美国人社区，坚决制止任何形式针对亚裔的仇恨及歧视。Over the past 2 months, our commission has worked along with Governor Tom Wolf and other Pennsylvania commissions, state representatives, local government agencies, and communities across Pennsylvania, and together with various school districts, schools, and educational agencies to take action towards our cause, including issuing 2 statements strongly condemning racial violence against Asian Pacific Americans and innumerable of lives lost, holding vigils remembering the Atlanta victims in different regions of the PA, holding numerous meetings and 5 town hall and discussion panels to talk about the issues that have been raised, supporting anti-Asian legislation, and creating and distributing educational resource packets to promote the racial equity and exclusiveness. 在过去的2个月中，我们宾州州长亚太裔事务委员会会同宾州州长汤姆·沃尔夫、宾州其他委员会、州议员们，以及宾州不同地区的地方政府及当地社区，以及宾州多个学区、学校及教育单位，切实采取行动，反对针对亚裔的仇恨及歧视。其中包括发表2份官方严正声明，强烈谴责针对亚太裔的种族暴力，并纪念死难者，并在宾州不同地区为亚特兰大枪击惨案的受害者们举行悼念集会，举办多次会议，并参与主办5个社区座谈会及论坛，以讨论凸显的问题及事态，反对支持反仇恨的立法，制作并分发促进种族平等及包容的教学材料。This past Friday, we were just successful in getting 26 governors to sign a letter together condemning anti-Asian act of hate. We are also working on 2 new projects to address the hate crimes and discrimination against the Asian Pacific American population, including a PA anti-Asian hate crimes and discrimination database to work on structural reform and resource equity and accessibility, and statewide directory of resource government agencies and community organizations, including mental health providers, providing service and support for combating hate crimes and discrimination. Both will be shared with the public. 前天，也就是本周五，我们成功联合跨美的26位州长，共同签署了一份声讨谴责针对亚裔仇恨行为的公开信。对于针对亚太裔的仇恨犯罪及歧视，我们还正开展2项新项目，其中包括建立一个全宾州针对亚太裔仇恨犯罪及歧视事件的信息数据库，形成第7报告，用于推动结构性改革及改进资源的公平性和可获取性。另一项目是建立一个覆盖全宾州，为打击仇恨犯罪及歧视提供服务与支持的资源目录。资源包括政府单位、社区组织、心理健康服务提供机构等2个项目的资料都将与公众分享。Racial discrimination against Asian and Asian Americans has been happening in U.S. for how long? For more than 100 years. And yet, I learned from Councilmember Squilla that not one single case of hate crime and discrimination against Asian or Asian American individual has been documented in Chinatown since 2018, believe it or not. In fact, there have only been 3 cases reported to the Philadelphia Police Department, and with only 1 confirmed to be motivated by racial discrimination, and only one reported case to the state police. 在美国，针对亚裔及亚裔美国人的种族歧视已经持续发生了100多年。我从Squilla议员那里获悉，自2018年以来，大家相信吗？ 费城中国城没有一宗针对亚裔或亚裔美国人的仇视或者歧视犯罪案件被记录在案，没有一宗。而据我截至2天前所确定的信息，费城市警察局仅接到了3宗报案，其中仅1宗的作案动机被确认是种族歧视，而宾州检察厅仅接到过1宗报案，1宗。To all people who experience or witness the hate crime or discrimination, you're not alone. We know this very clearly. It's happening every day around us. And to all different kinds of people, including our black and brown brothers and sisters, not just Asians. Discrimination can exist in so many different layers and in so many different ways. When you speak out, you will find there are many people standing with you and supporting you. You're not weak. Your cell phone in your hand is the most powerful weapon you can have to fight racism and discrimination. Use your cell phone to take a video, take pictures, take notes, and name and location and important details right away. If you can do so safely, report it to law enforcement right away. Even post it on social media. If you see a hate crime occur, call 911. And non-emergency hate crimes or discrimination, you should report to the FBI, the Governor's Office of Homeland Security, or the local Pennsylvania Human Relations. And we, the Pennsylvania Governor's Advisory Commission, will always be here and let us know. We will put in our database and work with related agencies to follow up. 我想对所有经历或者目击仇恨犯罪或歧视的人说，你们并不孤单。你们知道，我们知道，它每天都发生在我们身边，而且发生在各种各样的人身上，不仅仅是亚裔。歧视能以许多不同的方式存在，并具有很多不同的层面。一旦你说出来，你会发现有很多人与您在一起支持你。我还想说，您并不弱小，您手中的手机是您对抗种族歧视和暴力最有力的武器。在人身安全得到保障的情况下，请您立即用手机拍摄视频、拍照，记下信息，比如说是姓名、时间、地点及重要的细节，马上向执法机关报案，甚至发布在社交媒体。In the end, I think it all comes down to humanity, about how we treat each other as human beings, and what kind of human being we want to be. In this land, most of us are immigrants, recent or from long ago. We should treat everyone in the same way as we hope our parents, our grandparents, or our ancestors should have been treated when they came to this land at the first time. Otherwise, we're failing our family and ancestors and all their hardships, effort, and sacrifice in fighting to come to this land. When the incident of discrimination occurs, it's very important to point it out and draw attention right away, because otherwise it will just slip by and will become normalized and even encourage people to do it more often to wider population. That being said, if we as adults will not even stand up when something gets us wrong or when we see it happen to others, then what kind of role model we're setting for our young generations? With our voices together, we're strong. We should stand together in solidarity with our black, brown brothers and sisters. And hate has no place in Pennsylvania. 大家一定要在当下指出来报案，否则将会是对种族歧视的一种纵容、默许，甚至是鼓励，会让他们觉得可以对我们亚太裔做更多这样令人发指的事情。如果不在当下指出来，不发声，对于旁观者是一种态度的表明。那就是别人对我们这样没关系，别人对我们这样是可以的，我们无所谓，甚至我们可以接受，是这样吗？这样态度的表明，也是对我们孩子的表态，对我们的下一代以及其他族裔人的表态。想想，当我们成年人对于种族歧视沉默而不站出来、不发声，我们的孩子、我们的下一代接受到的是怎么样的信息？他们回到学校，可能受到种族歧视和欺负的时候，他们从父母辈学到的是怎样的应对？ 我们都知道，亚太裔青少年的精神健康状况非常让人担忧。我们近来收到越来越多的信息，在学校里，亚太裔的孩子们觉得被孤立、被忽视、被欺负、被歧视，在学校觉得孤单，回到家里甚至和家长也觉得无法言说。这些孩子甚至找到我们来求助。所以，为了我们自己，为了我们的下一代，他们的未来生存环境及安全，我们一定要联合起来，团结起来，为青年一代做好示范作用，用自己的实际行动让他们知道，我们是他们的坚强后盾，让所有人知道，我们团结一气是强大的力量。为了我们生而人人平等，所应得的公平与正义，为了我们所应得的基本生命安全，为了我们祖祖辈辈奋斗艰辛牺牲换来的，我们作为华人、作为亚裔的尊严与骄傲。Thank you， 谢谢。
Yeah!
Thank you, Stephanie. We also have 3 council members from the city of Philadelphia to join us today. They're no strangers to you, but let me just quickly let you know that we here as the Chinese American community appreciate their long-time support to the Chinese community and Asian community in general. Let's welcome first Councilmember At-Large.
Yeah!
All right, thank you everybody. Listen, how do you fight hate? Well, you fight it with love, right? You don't fight hate with hate, you fight it with love. But how do you do that? Well, first, education, right? Because there's some people, they don't hate you, but they have a real misunderstanding of who you are. They're misinformed. They've heard things for a very long time that are not true. But education, because they're not full of hate, they're just misinformed, is a way to remove that negativity that they have. Communication, talking to people, talking to all sorts of people. People who share your values, people who don't, communication. And then finally, working together on those things that make all our lives better. Reaching out to everyone. Those are ways that we can deal with hate. We have Asian American Heritage Month coming up in May. How about a program in our public schools to let people know about the history of Asian in our country? And
Yes.
who are Asians?
Yes.
So the first thing, listen, ask yourself who are Asians. The world's population is 35% white, black, and brown. 35%. The rest of the world's population, 65%, are not white, black, or brown, Latino, Hispanic. But when they come to this country, or when they're born in this country, there is only one bucket for all of them. It's called Asian. So you can have people from Iraq, you can have people from Iran, Mongolia, Uzbekistan, Malaysia, Indonesia, Guam. You can have people from the Philippines. All these people really don't have that much in common with each other. Religion, language, anything. But when they come here, they're lumped together as Asians because there's only like 6% of them. What happens is throughout our history, that has made people of this small group an easy target for being blamed and scapegoated. The Filipinos were here in the 1500s. The Filipinos fought in the War of 1812. Chinese fought in the Civil War. The Chinese and the Japanese fought in the World War II, and the Korean War, and the Vietnamese were in every war since. The most decorated military unit in the history of America are the Japanese Americans. They came out of the internment camps to fight for America in Europe. The most decorated military unit of its size for only being activated for 2 years. The reason I'm saying that is because how can you educate people if you don't know yourself? If you haven't taught your children the history of Asians in America, the fight for civil rights, the constitutional cases that were brought by Chinese Americans that laid the foundation of civil rights in America, how would you know? If you didn't know that they could not naturalize, they could not vote in this country, how will you teach your children about the history of Asians in America? And if you don't teach them, I guarantee you somebody else will. And when they teach them, it's likely they'll teach them incorrectly, and you will be the villain. Make sure you teach your children, and if your parents don't know, please teach them. And while you're doing that, it's not just Chinese American history or Korean, it's Asian American history and how that ties in with people from other countries in Europe and their struggles, African Americans and people from overseas, how we're all one people fighting for the same values. We have to, as Asian Americans at this time, take this opportunity in history where we have a long history of discrimination, make this a positive time to reach out to others and get engaged in our common struggle for a better life, our constitutional rights, and a better country. Thank you.
Yeah!
Thank you very much. We also have John Ching with us. He is the Executive Director of PCDC, Philadelphia Chinatown Development Corporation. John.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's great to see a crowd out here today.
Yeah!
I just want to say that we have been here more than 150 years, and unfortunately today we stand here today because the same things keep happening. Asian Americans are scapegoated and blamed for problems that we are not responsible for. And this is the unfortunate reality. But we can change that by rising up each time incidents happen and by working together with all our neighbors, regardless whether you're Asian, white, black, Hispanic, anybody, everybody. We all have to work together to eradicate racism. Because if we don't, this will continue on and on and on. We're standing here in Chinatown, the symbolic hub of culture for Asian Americans. Right here we're standing under the Friendship Gate. But this has not stopped the government from thinking that they can push the Asian American community around. We have had to fight for the last 50 years to protect our community. We have lost 25% of our land against projects that we didn't want here in Chinatown. Our families were forced to move and relocate to make way for projects. When the west side of the city didn't want the Greyhound bus station, they put it here, south of us. When the South Street residents didn't want the highway, they put the Vine Street Expressway here. When they didn't want the federal prison, they put the prison over there to the east. So time and time again, when Asian Americans do not speak up, every day, this will happen. So, when I say, what do we stand for? You say, united we stand. What do we stand for? United we stand. What do we stand for? United we stand. Thank you.
Yeah!
Thank you very much. Can we invite Councilman Squilla to join us at the podium?
Yeah!
Thank you. Thank you all. And I want to say, as a council member, it's really great to be here today and see everybody from all walks of life here to treat and understand that we support each other. You have some elected officials here. You have people from the federal government, from the state, and from the city. You are not alone. You are here. We are here with you to support you. There is no room for hate in our city or in our country. We have to make sure that people who think it's okay to be able to commit crimes of hate need to be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And the only way that happens, though, is if we report those crimes. We need to be able to say things happen. We need to know what to say and when to say it, so that those crimes are reported as hate crimes, and then those people can be prosecuted to the full extent. We cannot do this alone. United, we can make a difference. Standing by yourselves, it will not work. United with all walks of people together can make a change. We know that hate is there, but we know what stops hate, and that is love. Love together from all people will conquer hate. We need to make sure that we love each other. We need to make sure that we show each other how strong we are and that we're united to fight against hate. That's the most important thing. You heard a lot of information today. You heard a lot of speakers. But none of this will change if we're not united. So let's stay strong. Let's stay united. Let's work together, let's live together, let people understand no matter what color you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what language you speak, you're all Americans and we all should be treated equally. Thank you.
Yeah! Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Mark. We also have Danilo Burgos, that's a state representative, come to us in the rain. Danilo, do you have a few words?
Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning.
Yeah.
I'm here today as state representative for the Latino community here in Philadelphia District 197. But most importantly, I and my community stand with the Asian American community, letting everyone know that there's no room for hate in our city or in our state. This past week, I stood side by side with your state representative, Mary Isaacson, and Patty Kim, the only Asian American elected to the State House out of Harrisburg, letting our entire state know that we will fight hate against any community, especially the Chinese community, the Asian American community. Thank you. Let's continue to fight together.
Yeah!
Thank you very much. Thank you. That concludes our speakers, and together let's give another round of applause to all these speakers who come and join us. Okay, another agenda of today is on a more somber note. We're here also to show our solidarity to the victims in the many cases of anti-Asian crimes and other racially motivated violent crimes in the past years. We would like to ask you to join us to observe a minute of silence in honor of the victims. Thank you, everyone. Another reminder before we are starting our march that we should all exercise care to ourselves and people around us. Please keep your belongings and your kids around you. While we encourage people to walk in clusters, please keep in line with the whole marching group. I will let Dan tell us where we start. And in addition to that, at the visitor service table, at our volunteer service table, there's also maps. If you didn't get a push of the map on your phone, feel free to grab a map so you know where the road is.
I like your mask. I like your mask.
Oh, thank you.
I'm very, very sorry. I jump the gun all the time, so. We also have a poetry reader today joining us. Her name is JoJo, and she is going to read a poetry called "Wong" by poet Mr. Zhao Zhigen. JoJo.
Thank you for everyone's time. 生，作者赵志根。曾经他们怀揣着梦想，阔别家园，不要在沉默中沉沦，不能在无声中遗忘。让我们高声呐喊，即便嗓音在呐喊中嘶哑。让我们高举双手，给世界传递爱和力量。让我们用言语传导对美好世界的向往，用行动捍卫我们神圣的权利和愿望。这一切都为了我们共同的梦想。当阴霾消散的时候，能和孩子们在自由的大地上徜徉。 当神风拂面的时候，所有人无论种族，微笑着共沐阳光。Thank you.
Thank you for the reader, and thank you for Mr. Zhao. He is not only a poet, he is also one of our volunteers. We also have so many volunteers today and in the past week working tirelessly to make this together. We would like to give them another shout out. Please, a round of applause. Thank you. Now we're getting ready. Can you tell people about the running road? Started to head south, right? So we're here, we're going to head south this way to reach Market Street.
Go for it.
And then keep going and take a left turn on Chestnut. I think that's with this kind of like starting instruction, you would know where to go. Walk slowly, try to keep a little bit of distance, and
Asian hate!
No more silence!
No more silence!
Stop Asian hate! Unbelievable!
你看我那两个朋友借我伞的。这是美东华人社区协会。这是在美国，我们时差最好是12个小时。我后。